And a very warm welcome to Wellbeing, Mission Control. I'm always delighted that you can join me. I'm just enjoying a beautiful day, blue sky, -24, and it's just stunning. And I wonder what your feelings are about fate, that your life is predestined. It's an interesting concept. And I really got it particularly interested in this idea due to a Soviet-era economist who suggested that there may be patterns in the apparent chaos and disorder of the world that became known as the long wave theory. And he had some unusual ideas that predicted boom and bust, and the idea that wars and revolutions were linked to sunspot activity because they affected food production. It's an interesting idea. It led to the development of some aspects of chaos theory, the notion that underlying the apparent chaos of the world and its disorder, there are subtle patterns of order that determine what happens. And it's an unusual suggestion because if you've had friends who like to say, oh, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it isn't, it won't. I was never comfortable with that particular notion because I've always preferred this concept that we need to take responsibility for our lives and determine what happens and how things unfold. It doesn't always work out, does it? But even if this extraordinary theory has merit and we can detect, even in the most chaotic systems, an underlying set of order, of principles that govern everything, it's not to say that fate is or isn't real. It leaves us with more choices than we might imagine. Much as I'd love to, I can't change the weather. And even with modern computer technology and the development of AI, it's still pretty difficult to get a complete and totally reliable picture of how the weather is going to evolve from day to day. Too many variables, too much complexity. But in the simpler expression of chaos, which is probably our lives, we may come to the conclusion that there are many things we simply can't control. There are things which are beyond our power to influence. And yet the one area that we can exercise control, where we have absolute choice, is how we react. There is no force and no power in the world to force you to think and feel a certain way if you choose to consider the world from a positive perspective, if you choose to remain calm, if you choose to retain a sense of inner balance in the face of some of the random events going on around us. But this particular long wave theory, yes, it caught my attention, but it reminded me that if there is an underlying order to our lives, if there is such a force as preordained energy that just delivers specific events in our life, that should take away a lot of the worry. Because if certain things are going to happen, perhaps we shouldn't get overly concerned about the apparent randomness of our lives. We look at the world and we do see disorder and chaos because we are not gifted with the ability to see the underlying patterns. But I'm going to say this again. You always have the choice about how you wish to respond. You do exercise enormous potential control over your thoughts and over your feelings. When you opt for a more positive attitude, it has a very powerful impact on the quality of your creativity, on your health, your well-being, how you sleep, even how you digest. And when we remember that we retain this ability, not perhaps to control the external environment so much, but to determine how we wish to respond to the events we encounter, that's a very, very powerful step forward in the cause for greater well-being, for greater creativity, even for more success, and also for reducing the level of chaos and confusion within the internal domain of our thoughts and feelings. I know it's a controversial subject, but as I was reading the collected works of this particular economist last year, it just reminded me that maybe chaos theory can teach us that if there is an underlying order, we should perhaps accept that it's working ultimately for our benefit. And whatever your thoughts, and I always love to get your comments, your feedback and observations, please remember that you and you alone retain the power to determine how you think and feel, and therefore how you wish to behave. Let me know what you think. It's a beautiful day. Allow me to wish you the most wonderful week, and I'm thinking of going back inside to warm up, and I'll be back with you again in a few days. Bye bye for now.